Hey, what comes after The First of Us?
Here we go. What?
The Last of Us!
God damn it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of It's Those Guys Game Reviews. I am Nick Silveranato and this is...
Connor Jagger, now with a beard.
So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. The game. The PS3 game that people for the past 2 years have just been jizzing rainbows over. And they're like, oh, The Last of Us, it will be the greatest game ever. The best game of all time. It is the greatest game that PS3 has ever had and ever will have. Well,
no.
Was it? Is it?
No.
We're here. Well, we're here to answer that question. If we just get the review before you answer it.
No.
So anyway. A mysterious spore reaches across the country, causing widespread menace and eventually causes an apocalyptic scenario where survival is a daily struggle.
Oh wait, for a second there I thought all that shit floating around there was another intro of Final Fantasy VII. Could happen.
Damn. Talk about your allergies.
As the main character Joel and his brother try to escape the infected city, Joel is shot at. While he himself survives the attack, his young daughter is killed by the soldier under orders to shoot. Ah, the government. You can always rely on them to keep us safe in times of crisis.
20 years later, humanity lives in closed-off areas where rations are handed out and regulated by the military. Most of the outside world is desolate, uninhabited, and overrun by infected monsters that the mysterious spores have created. If the zombie-like psychos don't get you, the regular, everyday psychos will. Either them or the trigger-happy military guards if they catch you after curfew. Adding to the problem is a group of vigilantes calling themselves the Fireflies, a group of radicals deemed as terrorists as they attack places to try to salvage supplies for the less fortunate. How less fortunate can people get by this point?
As Joel and his friend, partner, fuck buddy, I don't know, hunt down someone who stole guns from them, they came across a member of the Fireflies and asked them to smuggle some cargo to a certain location. In doing so, they provide Joel and his FWB with the guns they bought from Robert, Joel and Tess's mutual acquaintance. The cargo turns out to be Ellen Page lookalike Ellie.
Ah, yes, Ellie. What modern day game is not complete with that edgy 14-year-old girl who likes to say fuck all the time?
So the three set out like some weird put-together dysfunctional family and set off to get Ellie to the proper location.
The setting and gameplay isn't really anything new that we haven't seen before. It's kind of like a combination of Metal Gear Solid and Resident Evil. You have the option to sneak around enemies and it's encouraged that you do so, seeing as how ammo is sparse. You can also sneak up behind them and strangle or stab them. You also have the ability to use them as a human shield if you need to. If you happen to be seen, you can either fight or try to hide safely. This might be slightly easier to do with human enemies than anything else.
A little bit. Because you can actually sneak up on them. I could be like right here, and I could like sneak up on the character, or one of the guys.
I love you too.
And they... I'm trying to make a point here.
You do have other weapons at your disposal. Your tried and true fist, for example. You can also fashion weapons out of things you find lying around the environment. With the proper tools, you can MacGyver yourself all types of weapons from shivs to iron pipes, with shivs taped to iron pipes to help put that extra ouch on your attackers.
As you progress, you pick up things like supplements that you can use to increase your overall health, stamina, and listening mode, as well as how you hold a weapon.
Yeah, so you can get like supplements to increase your health, or weapon parts to increase your weapons, make them more powerful and stuff like that. The problem with these things is there are just far and few between, and it's like you have this ridiculous amount of supplements you have to pick up to get to go up by like one, like for health, or to increase, like I said, like you said, to increase the listening mode or whatever. And it just takes too long, and it's like you really gotta just pick and choose what you want to do. You want to go through the game with take a lot of damage, or do you want to be able to give the maximum amount of damage? It's just, I don't know. It seems like if you're going to do it that way, why do it at all?
Guess they expect you that there's more to surviving than just taking your vitamins and saying your prayers.
Right?
Speaking of listening mode, it's one of the mechanics you use while sneaking around. In listening mode, Joel is able to pinpoint where enemies are and give you a sense of where they are and how close they are to you. It's kind of like Batman's detective mode, but nowhere near as badass and effective.
One of the main big bads are the clickers, the zombie-like foes that are the most highly infected. They rely on sound to find their prey because long-time infection renders them blind. This is a fucking lie, or at least inconsistent at times, since there are some parts of the game where no matter how quiet and sneaky you are, they make a beeline for you. Oh, and if you get caught by one, pretty much instant death.
The game has a tendency to be a bit too dark at times. Sure, you have a flashlight, but it only does so much, and when you find yourself running for your life in a narrow dark area, you are pretty much screwed. The controls unfortunately seem unfinished. Trying to shoot an enemy seems more like a chore than it should be. This itself wouldn't have been much of an issue if it wasn't for the fact that even though your aim is shoddy and inaccurate, enemies shooting at you seem to be dead on accurate.
Now, the biggest offender for me on this one were these fucking douchebag giant fat fungus things called the the bloaters. Now, these things with a long time infection just get bigger and more giant, and they start throwing these sacks or whatever of spores that can find you from anywhere you are. You know, these blind things that can suddenly just throw shit at you and get you wherever you are in the room. Now, okay, I get the whole suspense thing where if they grab you, it's one-hit kill, and that's fine and all. It gives you a reason to avoid them. But what really pissed me off about these things is no matter where the fuck you are, and they throw those things at you, it finds you. I don't even know how this is possible. I wish I could be exaggerating on this, but I'm barely exaggerating on this. Say, for example, you're in this one dark hallway where there's one roaming around, and if you find a place to fucking hide from this thing, I could be like, okay, so here's the door, right? I come in here, I'm all the way into the back room behind a fucking bathroom stall, and this thing is like down the hall. It still, for some reason, managed to throw something at me, and this magic fucking thing can come all the way, curve around, and find me. And it's not a fucking guided missile. They just throw like this sack, and it's like, oh, there you are. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, it takes away the satisfaction of being able to hide behind something, and maybe they throw it, and you can avoid it. But this thing seems to always find where the hell you are. And if that isn't bad enough, even if she's hiding and you don't move, it still fucking finds you, and grabs you, and kills you. That was something that really pissed me off about this shit, is because, like, I get the whole, you know, trying to do the reaction thing where, like, you know, maybe your gun you're not that great of a gun person, but, you know, the people you're dealing with aren't exactly high-class assassins either. And yet somehow, shoot you right ahead. Another thing that pissed me off about this game is, like, when you shoot some of these bad guys, they don't, I mean, what the hell? I'm no expert here, but I'm pretty sure if I got shot in the throat, or I shot somebody in the throat, they're not gonna just get right back up and start shooting at me.
Judges?
I mean, seriously, you can sit here and shoot these guys, and you hear them go, ah, like, you know they got shot in the throat, and then they get up and start shooting and go, hey, fuck you. I mean, even if I was able to get up and start shooting back and got shot in the throat, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to say, hey, fuck you, and start firing back.
Assuming when you shoot back at them, I guess the fuck you is implied. Broken game mechanics, folks. Maybe they're not broken.
No, there's parts where they didn't really focus too much on, like, the gameplay aspect. I really just didn't like that. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the game?
Too stealthy. I don't like it.
Really? That's it?
Well, that, and they should have given you, like, a better option of weapons and ammo.
After everything we've been through, all you can come up with is not stealthy enough? I mean, it's too much stealthy?
It's just not, I don't like it. It's not my kind of game. I prefer games where, if you're going to give me a gun, at least give me a decent amount of ammo to defend myself if anything goes wrong.
You can get a decent amount of weapons from bow and arrow to shotgun. And that's something else that bothered me, is really the aim about this game. I mean, like I said, again, no expert, but I'm pretty sure if, you know, I got the gun right here, a shotgun, right here in front of me, and I pull the trigger, it's going to hit him! Not magically somehow bypass him, and then I get, like, hit with a fucking crowbar or something.
Or by The Last of Us standards, just like back through my chest and just curves away.
I mean, seriously, it's like they're right there in front of me, and I have a shotgun. You know, shotguns, they're supposed to spread when you shoot them. And somehow, that's how bad the fucking aim is. It's not like when it's far distance. Oh, by the way, when they're far away, oh, they can hit you no matter where you are. Again, the thing I brought up with the sack. But, you know, I'm like to think if I'm right in front of them, expert marksman or not, I pull that trigger, it's gonna hit something. And it couldn't even do that.
While The Last of Us is a decent game, it represents a problem that I see in the upcoming generation where developers are going to spend more time on bigger and better graphics and focusing very little on the gameplay aspect. While these issues don't make the game unplayable, it can lead to some frustrating moments where you can tell the mechanics are broken and leave it with that not finished feeling.
Still not as bad as Sonic 06.
I don't even know how that would be a compare. Anyway, like I said, it's nothing too game-breaking, and you can find a way around it, although it just seems to make some kind of false frustration it's supposed to be suspense, but it seems more like a frustration than anything. And also, I thought the pace of the game was maybe a little too slow. I mean, too much walking. Seriously. Just, I don't know. That's what I felt. There's like a lot of dead parts just walking, and some parts actually seem to drag on like way too longer than it should have. Perfect example is the part where you get caught in a trap and you're hanging upside down, and Ellie's trying to, cut the trap to free you, and I just felt like that section went on just longer than it should have. Because at the same time you get like all these enemies running in, you gotta shoot them, make sure they don't grab her, make sure they get to you. And like I said, that's fine and all, but it just seemed like a scene that went on way too long.
Padding.
Exactly. There's a lot of padding in this game. That being said, it's not the worst game. Like, it's pretty good. It's a pretty decent game. You can have a fun weekend with it. Good visuals. No problem with that. Although they spend more time on the actual characters than like the enemies. I mean, you can kind of tell that when you're fighting the enemies, they're not exactly as rendered or high caliber as what your character and the main characters have. Voice acting's pretty good. Not gonna lie, voice acting was good, visually good. It's like really on spot with that. You can tell nothing was forced. You didn't really have anything forced. It sounded like natural. It was good. Definitely a good game. Not the greatest fucking game I've ever played. And I could list a couple of games that I thought were better, maybe didn't look as good, weren't as graphically as impressive, but they were still decent games, and this itself was a decent game if you can get past the moments of frustration where it seems like they just didn't have to do what they did in it. Overall score, I'm pretty much going to have to give it a B-. Like I said, it's not up there in the caliber of greatest games ever, but it was just another overhyped, overrated game that a lot of the big-time reviewers just go ahead and gave it like perfect scores because, well, they made money off of it. I'm not making any money off of this. Are you making money off of this?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Anyway.
B+. With very little ammo, there's very little ways to defend yourself. Maybe if they had like, I don't know, a silencer for a gun, maybe you could get past the zombies, but considering this game's mechanics, a silencer wouldn't do you much justice. And if the graphics are the only good thing this game has, it's not a very good game to begin with. That seems to be a problem with most games these days, is that people are more focused on the graphics than actual gameplay or quality.
Alright, so there you go. This has been another episode of It's Those Guys Game Reviews, and now, oh, the fuck? What now? Oh shit, that's the alarm. You know what that means? To the Batmobile! We didn't give this game a perfect review, so you